This week on his radio show, Howard Stern defended wokeism, saying it's a compliment when someone calls him woke. Listen.
If woke means I can't get behind Trump, which is what I think it means, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or I'm for the vaccine, dude, call me woke as you want. I'm not for stupidity, but I am woke, motherfucker, and I love it.
Oh dear, he swore. He swore that'll win over the woke. He's a regular Huey Newton of the Hamptons.
Well, I watch, I know some of them, and like Howard, I was on Howard Stern's show as much as anybody, and
yeah.
he was great at that time, and then he went woke.
Yeah.
And since he's gone woke, his ratings...
Howard Stern didn't just sell out. He hosted a full-blown clearance sale on his legacy. Gutfeld and Donald Trump didn't just show up. They came armed with receipts, fireworks, and pure chaos. Once the undisputed king of controversy, Stern has now turned into the butler of blandness, serving up safe takes like lukewarm leftovers. His transformation from fearless to forgettable practically begs for ridicule. Gutfeld slices with razor-sharp wit while Trump bulldozes through with unstoppable glee. Together, they turn Howard's tumble into an explosive roast that's pure entertainment gold. This isn't a comeback. It's a comedy show starring irony itself.
Well, it is weird because he criticizes Trump for dividing the country, and then he says he hates his supporters. So he's not learning from his own analysis. I think he might have turned into the thing he hated. He needs to go back and watch the movie Private Parts and focus on how he portrayed Don Imus, because he's kind of turned into Don Imus in a way. It's a mix of ego and resentment.
Howard Stern, he's a weak guy. He's weak. He's going, what about, it was so ridiculous. Even she was embarrassed. It was like softball.
Howard Stern, the self-proclaimed king of all media, is now the king of all meltdowns. It's surreal watching the man who once threw verbal Molotov cocktails at the establishment morph into a dated community gossip ant, clutching pearls at the faintest spark of rebellion. If irony were currency, Howard would outspend the Federal Reserve. The same man who sneered at conformity now glides through mainstream narratives like he's auditioning for a CNN cameo. The rebel who once shouted truth into chaos now whispers comfort to the crowd. A stunning fall from fire to fluff.
Stern can call snacking with celebs at a fancy restaurant exhausting. Exhausting. Like he finished the overnight shift in a coal mine, or hearing Kat talk about her pets.
Fair.
But I get it, life is tough, especially when you've been cut off from the world for 2 years in a $20 million beach house. I mean, you have no idea how tiring it is walking all the way from the wine cellar to the tennis court and back.
Gutfeld didn't even need a monologue to dismantle today's Howard. Just a mirror would do. Imagine Stern staring at the ghost of who he used to be versus what he's become. This isn't evolution. It's a reboot written in fear, hypocrisy, and hand sanitizer. Then comes Trump, not subtle, but swinging with the force of a sledgehammer duct taped to a bald eagle. Watching him reference Howard now feels like a rock star mocking the wedding DJ. He's not mad, just bewildered. The contrast is both hilarious and tragic. A spotlight on a legend who forgot how to shine.
The opposite of woke to me is asleep, and I think I'm awake. This must have gotten Trump all charged up, because at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, technically Sunday morning, he starts tweeting out, Howard Stern is a broken loser, jerk off, not loyal, the usual, tirade. And I thought to myself, I'll tell you my thought on it was, what?
Stern went from being the guy who pushed every button to the guy who asks permission before microwaving his lunch. Remember when Howard used to be dangerous? The man who made late-night hosts sweat and radio stations panic? Now he makes Joy Behar look like the headliner of a biker rally. He's no longer edgy. He's been sanded, polished, and shrink-wrapped for public safety. The rebel who once made chaos an art form now reads bedtime stories to the establishment.
That Stern hit a chic restaurant in NYC with a crew of A-listers, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, John Hamm, Justin Theroux, Jason Bateman. I was not invited. I guess because my first name doesn't begin with the letter J.
Greg Gutfeld points at Stern's downfall the way a comedian mocks Hollywood hypocrisy, with laughter sharp enough to cut glass. The rebel he once praised is now the punchline. The same guy who mocked celebs for being out of touch is now signing autographs on the same yachts he used to roast. He used to drag egos for sport. Now he's polishing them by the pool. The Howard Stern of today fears cancellation like it's a monster under the bed. The shock jock turned safety-first showman. What a spectacular irony.
Howard, I knew him very well. I was on the show many times. I used to think he was good. Then I dropped him. And I dropped him like a dog. And his ratings are very challenged. Very challenged.
Sure, that fear might be real, but the old Howard wouldn't have cared. That version of him would have gone live and dared anyone to stop him. This new Howard apologizes for jokes he hasn't even made yet. It's not growth. It's reverse evolution, the Benjamin Button of public image. Trump laughs at Howard's collapse the way a lion laughs at a declawed cat. His existence alone sends Stern spiraling. Howard's so afraid to offend that he'd probably check with the gluten-free lobby before toasting bread. Meanwhile, Gutfeld, armed with smug intellect and barstool swagger, tears into Stern's sanitized persona like a bad sitcom no one asked for. He calls him out not just for being fake, but for being boring, the deadliest sin in entertainment. The man who once bulldozed barriers now won't even jaywalk. The rebel became the rule book.
Also, vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. To keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro. What's funny, though, is that Stern actually thought that was a compliment. Stern has become such a wussified sycophant, he doesn't realize that telling Kamala that he'd vote for a wall is telling her that he knows she's as dumb as one.
With that trademark smirk, Gutfeld jokes that Howard's mic should come with a seatbelt and an apology manual. Every broadcast feels like it's been pre-approved by corporate HR. His interviews, once raw and unpredictable, now sound like sanitized lab experiments. Then Trump jumps in, tossing shade with effortless precision. To him, Howard isn't a rival. He's a relic, a once great icon clinging to relevance by cozying up to the same elites he once roasted. He's gone from roast master to Roach Motel for recycled Hollywood opinions. He used to bite the hand that fed him. Now he's licking boots. And not even designer ones, just clearance rack approval boots.
Kat, I find that his definition of wokeism is very simplistic. I mean, it's like, it's not about COVID jabs.
I didn't get that either. He was like, I love the vaccine. I'm woke.
It's not unlike Howard Stern. I mean, talk about a transition. On Tuesday, he conducted an interview with Kamala Harris that was so simpering and feminine, I got my period while listening to it.
Howard still thinks he's the rebel, clinging to the fantasy that saying, I used to be edgy earns him credibility. It's like watching a guy in a leather jacket at a retirement home, bragging about glory days nobody remembers. Gutfeld dismantles him with surgical precision, a scalpel in one hand, a punchline in the other. The man who once ruled uncensored radio now filters every sentence through a committee. It's like watching a punk band reunite to play elevator music. Trump just shrugs, amused. Howard's desperate chase for relevance entertains him more than any performance ever could. A decade ago, Trump could sneeze and make more noise than a month of Stern's monologues. His ratings didn't disappear. They grew up and moved on. Howard didn't lose his fans. He abandoned them for celebrity approval.
Even when I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Oh my God.
There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, I mean, as America, land of the free, home of the brave. I think it's literally on the line.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that.
Greg Gutfeld wraps it all up with comedic napalm that hits harder because every word rings true. He doesn't just mock Stern's fall. He exposes the emptiness left when the loudest voice in media starts whispering for validation. The silence around Howard now is deafening. He once disrupted the system, now he conforms to it. The man who made unpredictability his trademark has become the most predictable act in broadcasting. Panic is his new brand. Surrounded by yes men and echo chambers, Howard's no longer informing, he's blending in. For someone who once lived to stand out, that's the ultimate tragedy. Trump doesn't even blink. What could Howard possibly say? Lecture him? That'd be like a balloon scolding a tank. The old Howard would have lit up the room. The new one checks if rebellion's still allowed.
It is incredibly brave to take this stance after you've made $300, $400 million not being woke, right? Loving Donald Trump, exploiting the mentally ill, wearing blackface. Look at the crop of woke comics, whether it's Stern or Jimmy Kimmel, his BFF, Sarah Silverman, Joy Behar, Michael Ian Black. What do they all have in common? They wore blackface. And then they went woke. It's not a chicken or egg thing there. You know what order it came. So I call this BFR. It's blackface reparations. There's nothing in Stern's previous career that could withstand this modern witch hunt that he now embraces.
Every time Howard tries to claw back relevance, Gutfeld's there to remind everyone what he used to be and what he sold out to become. He's the scoreboard to Howard's endless rerun, tallying a legacy that traded rebellion for reputation. Once you morph into the thing you swore to destroy, the only fans left are the ones who never knew you. Howard isn't evolving, he's camouflaging. Even a chameleon changes color with more conviction. He's desperate to stay on the right side of history by rewriting his own, but history keeps the receipts, and Gutfeld reads them aloud. Trump, meanwhile, is the footnote that won't fade. Howard's biggest betrayal isn't that he's wrong. It's that he's dull.
I really had an exhausting weekend. Emotionally, physically. For the first time in 2 years, I ventured out of the house. Now, maybe he's exaggerating. We all do that. In fact, the more successful you get in media, the more exhausting the easiest things become.
Donald's just sitting back watching the implosion, like a man at a demolition derby who bet on the building falling sideways, and it does, in glorious slow motion. This isn't reinvention, it's surrender. Howard didn't rise, he sank into the plush cushions of celebrity approval, surrounded by pillows embroidered with lukewarm opinions. He doesn't make headlines anymore. He reads them carefully, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Meanwhile, Gutfeld's pen cuts deeper than ever, and Trump's spinning circles around Stern's reputation, grinning like a kid on recess. Howard's greatest fear isn't being offensive, it's being forgotten. The once mighty Mike Warrior is now sipping wine spritzers at photo ops. Once feared, now ignored. Once raw, now wrapped in plastic and sold in corporate America's safe aisle.
He swore that'll win over the woke. He's a regular Huey Newton of the Hamptons. Here's my theory. Wokeism is a contagion. Stern got it from Jimmy Kimmel, his new best friend, and Kimmel got it from his wife, and his wife got it from where you get all infections, a toilet.
No punchline needed. Howard Stern has become the punchline himself. And just when you think he's peaked, he tops it with another perfectly polished monologue that sounds more like a LinkedIn post than radio. The man who once torched Hollywood now begs for a seat at their brunch table. His biggest brag these days? Telling you who he didn't offend. Gutfeld doesn't even need new material. He just replays old Stern clips and laughs. That guy had guts. This one has a Netflix password and anxiety. Trump doesn't need a script either. One jab from him hits harder than Howard's entire sanitized show. The tragedy isn't that he fell. It's that he documented the fall in real time. While Howard drowns in elite compliments, Gutfeld and Trump keep doing what he pretended to, calling out the circus, not performing in it.